Hey everybody, it's Casual Boops coming at you with another video, and today we're doing Get Good Episode 8, and for Episode 8, I'm going to focus entirely on one topic, and that is the Camo Net, the camouflage net equipment in World of Tanks, and why it is garbage, and why nobody should use it ever for any reason. This is your basic and your intermediate and your advanced tip, because I see players of all skill levels using this piece of trash equipment, so I'm going to explain why I think that is a terrible idea. And so first we'll start off with, what does it do? You'll notice I have lots of pieces of equipment of every type except the Camo Net because it is garbage. I have a couple of those just for testing for this kind of conversation. What does it do? It gives you 15% of concealment to a stationary vehicle. That sounds really good, right? Sounds awesome. You just everything gets stealthy, right? No. So if you're in the game and you're in your garage, you'll notice on the right here you've got all these different survivability, firepower, and so on and so forth. You click on concealment for any tank, and you'll see these numbers. And what they are is there's a number and a slash number and a number slash number. It's your camouflage value for the stationary vehicle, and then stationary while shooting. So and then it's moving vehicle, and then moving while shooting. So the worst camouflage that you can get is moving while shooting, just in general for everything. And you'll notice that light tanks, that's like the one special thing that light tanks get, is they get the same camouflage rating on the move as they get stationary. So they don't normally, normal tanks other than light tanks, when you move your hull, your camo value reduces. So that's why it's very common if you're sitting in a bush as a medium tank or a tank destroyer and you move, you will become spotted instantaneously if you were just on the border of being spotted before, because your camo value drops. Camo value is based on, I'll keep it light because camo mechanics in this game are very intensive, and that's going to be a subject for a whole nother video. But basically, it has to do with kind of the height of a tank, but also assigned values that World of Tanks, Wargaming gives certain tanks. So two tanks that look the same size might be wildly different with camouflage values, just because of what has been assigned by the World of Tanks devs. So basically, what am I trying to say here? So what the Camo Net does, you would think, is it does really great stuff. It makes your camo value really awesome all the time. Well, no. And here, I'm just going to throw some gold on things. I'm gonna waste some gold to show you. So you put the Camo Net on. Okay, you get a great stationary camo rating, and stationary while shooting camo goes up a little bit too. You see it goes up by 15%, a straight 15% while stationary, right? You can see the little numbers, that show you the bonus, but then you only get 3.14 from the Camo Net for camo while shooting, and that is the point. So there's two reasons why the Camo Net is trash. Reason number one is this bottom part down here, which is to say that Camo Net does not help you after you shoot, and it doesn't help you. Okay, technically it does help you after your shoot, but almost every tank in the game, after you shoot, your camo rating drops to such a significant value that if you are trying to be stealthy and you're in a bush with a Camo Net and somebody is nearby, but you're not spotted because you've got a Camo Net, as soon as you shoot, you're spotted either way. So if you're so it just doesn't help you with shooting, and it also doesn't help you getting into the bush. The riskiest part of any kind of scouting run or any kind of sitting in a bush or doing any kind of scouting is getting into the bush. And that's because it's very easy to get spotted. You're not fully concealed yet, and there's the pathway that you take to get into the bush, and this doesn't help you with that at all, because even on a light tank, if you were to take this off, I'm gonna take this piece of trash off my striv. If I put this on a light tank, let me see here, light tank. If I take this off and if I put a Camo Net on my light tank, you don't get the bonus while moving. You only get it while stationary. So even as a light tank, you don't get the the bonus does vary based on the class, right? So it's 10% for light tanks and so on and so forth, 15% for TDs. Doesn't matter what it is. It's garbage. Never use this, right? So and here's an example. I'll just post a bit. I've got a video here of an example. Okay. So we are watching me. I've manufactured this position. There are scouts around, and I'm in my SU-130 PM. I've got a stupid Camo Net on. I'm about to go get into a bush that I think will be good. It's a good scouting bush. It's really great for light tanks and camo tank destroyers and stuff. Okay, so now I'm ready to go, and we're gonna trying to get into that bush that's right there. And if I get there and my camo net activates, it takes 3 seconds of being stationary for your camo net to activate. And then at that point, then you are stealth. But you can see I've already been spotted. I didn't even get it into the bush before I was spotted by some tank that was somewhere. And so that's just a perfect example. I wanted to show that's what happens every time I have a camo net. That's what happens to me. So never use that. And you might be thinking, okay, so the reasons people use camo nets, okay, because I'm trying to be a light tank, I'm trying to be a super scout, right? If you're trying to be a super scout, use low noise exhaust, right, on your light tanks or on your stealthy medium tanks, like a leopard, for example. Use low noise exhaust, and you'll have great camouflage. It'll improve your camo rating on the move, right? Low noise exhaust helps it on the move and stationary, so that way you can get into those bushes without being spotted. Low noise exhaust is amazing. Use low noise exhaust. That's it. You would use low noise exhaust on medium tanks, on light tanks, on tank destroyers, whatever. If you want to be stealthy, use the low noise exhaust. You might be thinking, oh, well, I'm an artillery, and why does it matter? I'm way in the back anyways. Okay, I wouldn't recommend playing that class at all, to be honest. But if you are, there's no reason. Like, I think I have one on the bat chat because there's really nothing else. You can't run a rammer and whatever. But like, there's just, if you are being, first of all, the same thing applies. Every time you shoot in an artillery, you can see your camo rating drops to almost 0, right? So that extra bit of camo, the bonus to camo net that is provided is like 15% of 0. So it's almost nothing. So you're still going to get almost 0 camo after you shoot. So it's garbage. After you shoot, if you are spotted in an artillery, you're probably dead anyways. So the camo net's not going to help with that. You might be thinking, okay, what if I use my STRV tanks, my Swedish TDs, right? It is a little bit unique with these guys because if you're in siege mode and you're not moving around, you can rotate. But if you're not moving the hull back and forth or around, your camo net, if you use it, for the love of God, don't, and your binoculars do not deactivate, right? So it's kind of unique in that way. I use binoculars on mine because you can set up in a spot, you can put on siege mode, and then you have binoculars and you have great view range and you have great camouflage already. And so you're probably going to get the first shot advantage on whatever you find anyways. No scout is going to out-scout you, right? But that's, so you might be saying, I'll just use them on my Sturv tanks because they never lose it. Well, they do, because if you move the hull, right, you're not going to sit in any one spot ever, and eventually you're going to want to shoot your gun, which means you're going to be spotted. Also, I would also say that if you're in a tank that is using a bush, like the Sturv and most light tanks, you've got your low noise exhaust to help you get into the bush, and then you've got the camouflage values that the bush gives you, right? Those are going to provide more than you would need, right? Like the camo net is it's garbage. It's just not very good. It's not worth the slot. It doesn't help you when you need it. It doesn't help you getting into bushes. It doesn't help you after you shoot. It's not going to keep you alive. The only time the camo net is ever useful is when you somehow know that you're able to get into you've got good enough camouflage to get into a bush for free already, and you have no intention of ever shooting your gun. But I would argue at that point, you already weren't going to be spotted, right? Like a Sturv that has no ammo. Let's just say Sturv that has no ammo. I don't know. It's just going to sit in the bush and be a scout for something like that. You didn't even need the camo net because you were still not going to be spotted. A bush with a good crew and low noise exhaust in a bush isn't going to be spotted unless you get proxy lit or unless you shoot. So it's just, the camo net is useless. And don't use it on anything for any reason ever. No artillery. For the love of God, don't put it on heavy tanks. Crazy Boop, this is for you. I saw you post a thing on the forums that had a camo net on your heavy tank. Never ever do that. There's no reason to ever do that, especially not on a heavy tank. There's just no, I can't think of a good reason to ever have that on a heavy tank. Because the camo values are all, the base camo rating value is so low that when you increase that by 15%, it's so low. It's still low. It's so, just pick anything else. Literally anything else is more useful than a camo net. Yeah, everything else has a use. I have several equipments of everything else. The radio set is the only one, the other one that I'm kind of on, but all the rest of these aside from the Camo Net, have a use. Okay, some are better than others, but they all have a use. I think I've covered it all. I'll try to keep this one short. So just do not use a Camo Net ever. It is never a good thing. It's never worth the slot. If you want to be stealthy, use a low noise exhaust. If you're in a heavy tank, stop trying to be stealthy. That's it. So that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, thanks. Bye.